Just a couple last things on the site plan that I want to point out. Residential, we think, is an important new component here for the Village Center. And there are additional residential, obviously. We have the Crossbox condominiums just to the west. These residential units, we think, could be very, very attractive to empty nesters, to young professionals, to folks who live between Baltimore and Washington. We need to bring in, some new vitality, I think, and a new component of new residential type of product like this, we think, can do that. It obviously brings potential customers to some of the rest of the Village Center as well.
And on that topic on the residential, so to clarify to everybody, as we are master planning our 9 acres that we own and control, we do know that that's not our specialty. We certainly have hired Bryce's group, who does a fair amount of residential, to help and support that. But one thing is that will be a rental product, and we will go out and get a professional developer doing residential. We will retain ownership of the land, but there will be another player involved who specializes in the residential component. So we have a fair amount of interest. No, we have a lot of interest of players that want to get involved in this. It's the right size for them. Some of them are national, some are local players, but it is a nice size and scale that many people are showing a tremendous amount of interest.
In Columbia, you're lucky to have a lot of talented folks who live here, including a lot of design professionals, and Bob Tenenbaum and several others have met with us to talk about some ideas about this center and have had some very valid input. And one of the options that we discussed with them was considering looking at, JT, can you just push that back to right there? Okay, go forward one. And keeping a portion of the existing two-story office of a retail building in order to create perhaps a greater sense of enclosure to the courtyard space. And that group may even want to see that extend out further and enclose it further. I'm not completely convinced that it's better being closed in than open. And so we're looking at this and we want to think about it. We want to find the right solution. It would certainly be very cost effective for the development team not to tear that building down and replace it elsewhere, but to leave it there. But I am very, very sensitive to the needs of these retailers getting people to their front door. So we have looked at this plan, and this is still in the mix, and we're obviously in the concept phase here. I think I've probably gotten around this plan reasonably well. The entry to the residential will be here. As I said, there's approximately 200 units in those two buildings, 4 stories over 1 parking level. They have their own courtyard space, which will be quite an amenity for them. This building has a smaller green space. The parking here will mostly support the office that will be on the 2nd level above this new retail space. What I'd like to do now is to ask Tom Repsher to talk about our plan a little bit from a civil engineering perspective.
I thought that was for me. I was just going to say that the stars of this show are Jeff and Bryce, but I'll try to keep you all awake. As many of you probably are aware, about 6 to 8 months ago, the state of Maryland developed new stormwater management regulations, and it became a major design component that we have to deal with throughout the state. One of the important factors that we have to determine on any project is whether it's new development or redevelopment. The first thing that we did on this project was we had a meeting with Howard County staff, and we did get confirmation from them that they'll consider this as redevelopment, which helps us in determining what the stormwater management requirements will be. There's provisions in the regulations that we fall under because we have a net reduction in impervious area with this new plan. We also have an increase in green space on this plan. Because we have a net reduction in impervious area, we are required to manage the first inch of runoff for approximately half of the impervious area. That doesn't mean a lot to most people, but that equates out to about 12,000, 13,000 cubic feet of storage that would be required. Under the new regulations, all projects are required to use environmentally sensitive design components, ESDs that are called. You'll probably hear that going forward. And in the code, there are several preferred ESDs that the state would like to see, as well as our county. Those include porous pavements, and that could be asphalt, concrete, paving blocks, bricks, bio-retention facilities, which are generally depressions that have porous materials in them and biofabrics, various components, and they're vegetated. Vegetated swales where water drainage over land as opposed to going through pipes. Rain gardens, it's a new term, but it's something that's been around a long time. Again, it's a depression where water goes into, and there's more aquatic type plants in it. Wetlands themselves, I mean, most people are familiar with wetlands. And there's also provisions for green roofs. In this plan, we've incorporated at this point, and this is still preliminary, but we've incorporated several of these components in. We've got several areas that are in this dark gray that we believe could be porous pavement. Now, we've shown numerous areas and some fairly large areas, and it's likely that those would be a combination of concrete and possibly some asphalt and some pavers. We're not, I mean, the design isn't far enough along to tell you that it's exactly going to be that size, but we have plenty of locations where it can work. Between some of the parking bays, we've got a 20-foot wide strip that we're going to propose a bioswale. That's an area where water will drain, surface drain off of the pavement. They'll be collected into a shallow depression. The water will channel through there. It'll be filtered through. There's under drains that then carry off the excess water into the storm drain systems. We've also got proposed some bio areas, possibly in the plaza areas, that we think can become amenities. They're not quite complete yet, but we're also doing the Howard County Government Complex in Ellicott City, and we're incorporating these same techniques into the reconstruction of the Howard Building's parking lot and the plaza in front of the Howard Building. So maybe in another couple of months you'll be able to go and see those and see what they look like. This area right here is a green roof, and as Bryce had said, there's parking underneath this whole building, and so there's parking underneath this area here. So we'll be able to get credit for creating a green roof in that location. There's the potential for doing cisterns, depending on what the final architecture gets to, who the users are, what they want to create, to utilize gray water, use it for irrigation, possibly use it within their buildings. We get credit for all those kinds of things, and so as the design progresses, we may look at incorporating some of those techniques also. You want to say something?